The Sony a7s III is arguably the best video camera released this year. However, a lot of creators these days are hybrids. Not only do they film video, but they also do photography, me being one of them. I don't have the luxury as a big time creator or YouTuber who gets sent free gear or can just buy a camera whenever they please just to test out a camera. So before I even bought the a7s III, I had to make sure that it could not only fulfill my video needs, but also my photography needs. So before I buy a camera, I have to think of the use case for myself personally. I run a video production company, I do a lot of commercial work, and do campaign videos with brands and nonprofits. However, my passion is documentary photography and street photography. I love to travel the world, immerse myself in new cultures, and just wander a new place and capture the moment. Therefore, I do consider myself a hybrid shooter. The a7s III is the perfect video camera for what I do, and it's a welcomed upgrade from the a7 III and the a6400 I used to use. However, the a7s III does have less megapixels than both those cameras that I used to use. The a7s III has 12 megapixels as opposed to 24 megapixels on both those old cameras. So with all that being said, I needed to test out the a7s III in a real world use scenario as a photography camera. I can't just leave it up to watching YouTube reviews and looking at online photos and making my buying decision just off of that. So I had the perfect opportunity back in October where I was a unit still photographer for a movie set for about 2 weeks. This was the perfect opportunity to test out the a7s III's photography capabilities. I wanted to see its dynamic range, its low light performance, the ergonomics of the camera, and overall its performance and final results as a photography camera with only 12 megapixels. I was lucky enough that my local rental store had an a7s III body and I was able to use it for 2 weeks on this movie set. Okay, so I've opened up Lightroom and I want to walk you through some of the images that I captured using the a7s III as a photography camera on this movie set for 2 weeks. Quick disclaimer, I did only use the a7s III as a B cam for the most part because, again, I was a little worried myself that with only 12 megapixels, will I be able to deliver high quality images to my client, especially at such a professional set. This image that you're looking at right now, it's of actor Peter Green. I actually captured it with my a7 III, 24 megapixels full frame camera. And just to give you a little bit of a comparison of what a camera of 24 megapixels can produce, let's zoom in at 200% so you can see the grain. Obviously I added a little bit of grain. This movie was based in the 90s, so I wanted to give it that old school feel, you know, a lot of detail, and you'll see with the a7s III what it can produce. So when we go right here, this is the raw image. This image, I believe, tests the dynamic range of the a7s III as a photography camera, especially in low light as well. This photo was actually taken at night, around midnight, and I really was obviously exposing for the actor, the cop, but I wanted to capture some of that street light and that ambient light in the background. So my ISO wasn't too high because the camera is great at low light performance. I have 800 ISO and I'm at f1.4. And when we punch in at 200%, this is the raw image still. I haven't added any color or any effects. There's a lot of sharpness to this image. The hat of the cop, the face, the beard, when you scroll down on the shirt, the buttons, the detail, the belt. This image is sharp to me. It really, to me, is a professional image that I would definitely be comfortable giving to my client. And here's me throwing off the effect. Again, I wanted to give it that 90s noir feel, so I added some grain to the shadows, a little bit of orange to the highlights, and as you can see, very, very clean image. Something that I was comfortable giving to my client and they were very, very happy with. I can't show you too many images from this movie set because the movie hasn't came out yet legally. I can't be showing around a bunch of behind the scene photos from a movie that hasn't been released yet. I have clearance to show some of the images. All right, here is another image. Let me show you the raw. Right here's the raw. This photo, when I was looking at it through the viewfinder and I was bursting through taking some of the photos, I was blown away at what I was seeing in the viewfinder. I was like, how is this photo so clean? Let's punch in at 200% so you can see what I'm talking about. This is at f1.4 as well, ISO 1000, 1/50th of a second. The detail on the jacket, the chain, you going on the skin, it's fine. It doesn't have a lot of noise. The colors aren't breaking up. This is a very sharp image in my opinion. Here's when I edited it and the image didn't fall apart. I added some grain, like I said, I'm going for that 90s feel. I just added some saturation, some contrast, a little bit of vibrance, played around with the tone curves, as you can see right here. Basic, I did a little bit of that. This is a sharp image, and this is with 12 megapixels, and at 200%, you know, this man's looking clearer than ever. So I was blown away when I was looking in the viewfinder of this camera. Here, I'll show you another one. This is the raw image right here. This image, to me, I was blown away by when I was looking at the viewfinder again. And it's so much dynamic range, right? I'm actually exposing more so for the light because I'm trying to show you what that scene actually looks like for the client, which is the executive producer. He wants to be able to show his clients and investors and movie people of what the set looked like, how professional it was. So I exposed for the light, not for the fact that it was nighttime. And I have a ton of dynamic range to play with. The light is perfectly exposed. You can see the darks are dark. Using one over here, the grain is very singular. It's very fine. And when we punch in at 200% on the cop, I actually missed focus on this one. I missed focus, and I think I landed right here, but I was using autofocus for the most part. This man is dead on the floor. The detail on the brick, you know. And I don't need to go past 200% on any image that I ever done. I don't need to crop in more than that. And when I edited it, look, it's super clean. This is a professional image, and it is because the client approved it. And if a client approves it, then it is a professional image. So here's another one, ISO 1600. So I boosted the ISO a little bit, f2.8. I wanted to get more in focus. And again, a very clean image. Here's the actor. I nailed focus on the actor very, very easily with the a7s III. As you can see, this is at 200%, you know? And I have such a clear, clean image. Let's see what else we got in here. Here's a funny one. Let me show you the raw image. Raw image. I love the color of the raw photos from the a7s III. Much better than the a7s III. It doesn't have that tint of green sprinkle around in the image. It's more natural skin tones, as you can see. I was exposing obviously for the person. I did f2.8, ISO 1600. And here's edited. I wanted to give it that night movie police scene, you know. Clean image. Let's go to another one. Let's see what we got here. A little behind the scene photo of the director and DP. No, the director and the assistant director. This is raw, 1600 ISO, f2.8. Light is nicely exposed. You know, we zoom in, and it's very fine grain. Their face, look at the skin tone. Look at this. Look at this, the detail in the skin. I focused on her, trying to get her looking at the viewfinder, the monitor, I mean. This is pretty clean. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. Let me show you one more. Right here. There's the raw image right here. F2.2, ISO 1600, 1/50th of a second. This image, I really wanted to just, you know, focus on the actor lighting his cigarette and show the DP doing his magic. And I feel like there's so much detail in this photo, you know. For 12 megapixels, it blew my mind when I'm looking through his viewfinder. I might have been a little bit out of focus, but it's all fine. Let me put the edit on. And look at this. Voila. 200%. If you guys want to go to 200%, here's what that looks like. You know, you got the HVAC unit right here. You got the actor, cop car, I mean, DP, tree. A lot going on in this photo. So much detail, so much texture, and again, very clean image. Let's go back to, again, this one. What is another one? This is the raw image before any editing. Let's go to 200% just to show you. Very, very nice grain. It's fine grain, you know. It's not taking over the image even at the ISO that I'm at. To me, this man looks very detailed. He looks sharp. I'm at f1.4, so not everything's gonna be in focus, you know. The detail of his lanyard, his shirt, the leather jacket, the beard, the mustache, and, you know, little light leak. Throw on an edit, boom, you know. So again, is the a7s III worth using as a photography camera? Absolutely. As you can see from these images, you got to keep in mind these are professional images because a client approved them. Not only just a regular client, but a client who's making a movie, a feature film. They need high quality images for the behind the scenes. As a unit still photographer, that's my job. Me testing out the a7s III while I was on this set for 2 weeks, I was comfortable and confident enough to use the camera as a beat cam and deliver those images in the galleries to my client. So in conclusion, I want to answer the question, should you buy the a7s III as a hybrid shooter or for just simple photography as well? First and foremost, it's always going to depend on your use case scenario. You have to ask yourself, how do I use my camera as a hybrid shooter, and what kind of photography am I doing? For me, I'm doing street photography, documentary photography. I'm one of those people who I'm very close to my subjects. I don't really do a lot of cropping in Lightroom. I'm pretty much framing as is and trying to get as close to my framing as possible, because it's one of those methods that is traditional in street photography and documentary photography. You want to capture the moment. So for me, this camera is perfect. I was able to use it real world in a movie set. Very, very professional experience. I can't be delivering bad images to a client at that type of level. And they were super, super impressed with the photos. They didn't know I was using a camera with 12 megapixels. So again, you have to really understand what it is that you're shooting and capturing, and then decide if maybe 12 megapixels is or isn't enough. For me, it is enough, and I think for a lot of people it is enough. If you're not blowing up your photos on billboards or doing big advertising campaigns, I don't think you will have an issue using this camera as a photography camera as well. And for me, this camera is so discreet, it's so light, it has such great capabilities that I think it's my perfect hybrid camera in my opinion. So thank you everyone for watching. I hope I was able to give you a little bit of insight in whether the a7s III is a great hybrid camera or not. It doesn't really matter these days what camera you pick up on the market, because every single camera you can probably think of at a certain budget level will produce great photos and video. I was using the a6400 for almost a year and a half before I was able to upgrade to this camera, and I had honestly zero complaints from clients all over from the images that I was able to produce. And at the end of the day, if it's getting in the way of your creativity, then maybe it's not the camera for you. For me, a7s III is a great hybrid camera. Thank you for watching. Make sure to subscribe if you can. Check out my website and my portfolio where you can see my documentary and street photography, and hit me up if you have any questions in the comment section below. Thank you.